Hi. As someone who struggles so much when starting with watercolor, I think it's very important that you know these very simple tips to get you started, and then you can just go ahead and have so much fun with it. So I think one of the very important thing is about water. So use 2 glasses of water, one for cleaning your brushes and the other one as a clean water. So you can add to your color and take the color. But the other important thing about water is that you need to take control of water. And although I encourage you to also let go for a lot of times, but a lot of the frustration for me came from the fact that I could not really control my water and I always had too much water. There are maybe two things that can really help you with it. Then the first thing is get a better paper. That's very important. That's probably one of the things that I would encourage you to spend a good amount of money on it, because paper can have a huge impact on your mental health while you're learning. Um, and the next one would be to have a cloth or a tissue paper or anything that you can tap on it and it will take some excess water away. This method I found to be helpful for me so much, because then I could get hang of it, and I could even I even started painting on normal paper with watercolor, which of course your paper will be a little bit flimsy, but I still really like it. I really enjoy it so much. So um, try to find what will work for you to get hang of your water. And you really need to be patient with watercolor. It's not as easy or as a straightforward medium. And the next thing that I say is the second best thing that can help you so much with starting with watercolor is combination, or let's say learn mixed media rather than only watercolor. So if you look at this, this is one one pot or something that I take everywhere with me. So I put it in a plastic bag because then I can see what's inside. And this includes Caran d'Ache, nail color, water soluble pastels, um, polychrome color pencils, and watercolor water soluble color pencils, and water based markers. So as you can see, there are so many water based things here. And the reason is that this will help you so much in the beginning phases, because what's important for watercolor is the more, in general, for your painting, the more you add detail, the better the painting will look. Of course, depends on the type of painting and what you want to show, but you need to learn what kind of details to add to make a painting look good. And I could not get hang of it with watercolor alone. So I used this. And then later on, I could kind of use watercolor to add those. So basically, these will help you in the beginning to enjoy your learning process, because it can be a little bit frustrating. Um, and the next thing that you really need to know, and it's very important, it's color. So which color to use, or which colors to combine, or all these questions. So don't use a set of watercolors that have so many colors. I think this is logical and acceptable. This is really good. Maybe when you are starting, don't pay too much money for your watercolor set. Just pick a set, sort of decent one. This is Van Gogh. This is a decent one. It's not too expensive. You can even buy a smaller set. That's completely fine, and go with it. What you need to learn is color theory, and I won't go in too much detail. I have another video for that. You can watch it. So for color theory, what's very important to know is sometimes when you're painting, you really don't notice, but then you have so much muddying in your paint, and it's brownish or grayish, but then you don't want that color. You really wanted to have your original color. So complementary colors together make your paints muddy. So just pay attention to that. Don't combine them when your paper is not dry. So the other thing that happens a lot in watercolor, how can I call this? Pseudo drying? Yeah, maybe. Which means that you think that your colors are dry, but they are actually not, unfortunately. So just make sure that when you want to add the second layer on top, your colors are actually dry. They might just look dry. Use a hairdryer for that. It can make your life so easy, because every time if you have to wait so long for it to dry, for example, I did a video on watercolor techniques. You can check it out. But I waited for salt to dry, for the color to dry with salt. And it took literally a couple of hours. So I didn't use a hair blower or anything because I thought the salt would go away. So try to make your life easier. Either start two painting at the same time, or what you can do is, for example, if you want to start with a scenery, start with the sky, mountains, and then here, and then you go gradually and you work on it step by step. That can also help you so much. Embrace the fluidity of watercolor. I know it's very difficult. I can completely understand this, but it can make very interesting effects. And try to kind of roll with it. If you think that destroyed your art, make something else out of it. You really need to be patient. It's a medium that when you learn a little bit more, you're gonna enjoy so much, but you need a little bit patience, and experiment as much as you can. Just try everything. It will help you so much. But when you really want to start, you need to know some like very basic techniques, and those techniques I have, and those techniques you can actually find anywhere. Those are the two famous ones, like wet on dry, when you have a dry paper, or when you add water and then you add color to it. Some people also say there is also dry and dry, but if you have to add water, then it's not dry. You can probably have a drier color, because the most important thing for watercolor is water. So the more water you add and the less color, the lightest the color is. And then you add more color, then it gets darker. And this is wet on dry. And for wet on wet, you can try so many different things. Just really fun stuff. And you can wait for it to dry and see what happens. I hope this video will help you to start up with watercolor and really like it. This video is the beginning of a series of learning how to paint with watercolor. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more. Thank you.